Good evening, all. Well, actually, it's morning where I am. I thought this tutorial could discuss projectiles. How do we add projectiles in Reloading Studio? We've logged in, we're looking at this dashboard, and we're going to go to projectiles. Now, in this case, there's quite a few. That's just my test data, but we'll start from scratch. So we'll say add a projectile, and we'll go from here. So this is the projectile form, and we'll go through all the controls in here. Now, I apologize, I don't really edit my videos. I recorded one take, and it is what it is. So you'll have to suffer through my ahs and arms and long thinking pauses. But let's do it. So first one, I want to add a batch of 9mm projectiles that I bought, and this 9mm batch of projectiles is cast and powder coated. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say it is cast. I'm going to give it a batch name. Now, I talked about batch name in a different tutorial, and I suggest you start with that one. It's a pretty important field, which basically describes a shorthand for a component. So in my case, I purchased my projectiles from a company called Demon, and they're 9mm and they're 135 grain. So I'm just going to make up a name. It could be Bob, but in my case, I'll call it Demon 9mm 135 grain. I purchased them from a company called Demon. Let's say I purchased them for, I don't know, $85 on a particular date, and I purchased 1,000. This is an automatic field over here, used quantity. Once you start using them, once you start loading and shooting, this number will start changing. Next one, brand, Demon, model. So it's a small company. They don't really have model names or anything like that. So I'll just say round nose, beveled bottom, and diameter, I'll say 0.356, and weight, I'll say 135 grains. Oh, what's going on with my web browser? And at this point, we're pretty happy. That's all we need. So I want to take it a little bit further, and I want to say that actually this is the first batch I bought, so I can tell them apart. And I want to add a logo so I know who it is. So I can add this logo through a file system, click here and select the file, or I can just drag it from my desktop, which is what I did. Upload, save, and we're pretty much set. Now the cover image, if you upload multiple images, so I'll just upload something else, you will get a choice of which cover image to use. So when you go to a projectile list, you'll actually see a little thumbnail. If we go back and change it, we'll see a different thumbnail. So that's what cover does. And we'll set it back to something pretty, delete this image, and update. So we were quite happy at this point. Oh, I'm not sure why I clicked update again, but here it is. This table, actually all tables have certain controls, and I'll talk about these controls individually in a different tutorial. But in here, this is sort of the minimum requirement that you need to add a projectile. Now let's take this a little bit further. We're going to say that we're going to add another projectile, Burger 308. Actually, I just realized, so I'm going to go back and I'm not going to save these changes. I just realized that I forgot to say what it's for. So usually it's pretty easy to tell from a batch name, but I can just add a note and say Alameda projectiles for range use. I mean, obviously I can't have a caliber because you can have multiple calibers for the same projectile or multiple chamberings. So now we're going to add more projectiles and we're going to use some other fields. So we'll say we'll add Burger 308 bullets, 155 or 155.5. We say we got 500 of those. It'll be Burger. In this case, they do have a model name. If I could remember that, that'd be great. I think it's, let me just look it up. Yes. So the model name is Full Bore Target, and the model number is 30716. And that's a product number. So if you want to look it up, that's how you find it. So diameter is obviously 308, and it'll become important in a second. And weight is 155.5 grains. And we'll copy a picture in here as well. So I'll drag it from my desktop. Upload, we need to upload. If I save this without uploading, I'll get a reminder saying there's some files waiting to be uploaded, so we'll cancel the save and actually upload the file first and then save. So here it is. What we can do now is start looking at this more. So if you're a target shooter, you might, or you cast your own bullets, you might look at diameter, or if you're a target shooter, you might look at weight. So rather than relying on the box to tell us it's 155.5 grains, we can say, well, actually, I'm going to weigh my projectiles, and this one is 155.6. Another one is 155.7. I'm being extreme here, but to demonstrate what's going on, I think it's a good use case, and we'll save this. So we can close it. And actually nothing changed, but the data is still in there. So if we go update form, we'll notice that our data has been updated and it's been calculated from this individual data entry. What we can do is we can actually override it back to 155.5, update it, and we'll note that even though we've overridden it, our actual data still remains and we can still update the main form. So if we click it again, it'll change back to this. Update and exit. So this is our projectiles. What I'd like to do though, just to be consistent, I want to edit this back, update, and I want to show you a little shortcut that if you made a mistake and you need to fix some things, you don't particularly, or necessarily rather, need to go into the actual form. What you can do is whenever you see a little pencil icon, you can edit in place. So we're going to make this capital, and we're going to save it again. So we can save or we can cancel. Little cross and a tick. And that's it.